Well, hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the Book Business Boss Consulting, helping you get your message to the masses, turn your word, and be a book business boss. So hold on just a second. I think I heard myself. So, okay.
Can't hear you now. You're muted. Muted. Can't hear you. Looks like you have your speaker off.
Test one, two. All right.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Okay, there we go. I have another software running in the background. But anyway, I'll start again from the top. So I'm Dr. Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the Book Business Boss Consulting, helping you get your message to the masses, turn your words into wealth, and be a book business boss. So, barring all technical difficulties, we're going to forge right ahead. So I'm here with a gentleman that has been on the platform before and always comes with some phenomenal information for us all so that we can learn and be better and grow, but have that hard conversation. Have those conversations that most people don't want to have. Stay out of my money. Stay away from my money. But let me just tell you, in the 2025 we've had so far, and today is the 11th at this recording, so we have about 14 days. No, 2020. What we got? 20 days left for the year. Let me tell you, everybody else done got down in your money. It's time for you to get down into it. So I want him to formally introduce himself, tell us where he's from. Be sure and tell us where we can find you, your website, what your website is. If you have your books handy, show those too as well, because they can support you on your website and purchase your book so they can kind of go through it. And then, of course, reach back out to you because I think after we have the conversation, going to be maybe some questions that they have, some phone calls they need to make some arrangements with you. So we're going to be talking about with Mr. James Marshall, marshaling your money. Take it away, sir.
Well, I don't know if I have my book. I was just searching for it. So I won't have that, but I do have the workbook. Anyway, I am James Marshall, the owner and president of Marshall Wealth Management, LLC. We are a registered investment advisory firm, registered in Kentucky and Texas. We specialize in comprehensive financial planning. In other words, we sit down with you and take you from A, budgeting your money, to Z, retiring and leaving money to your family, estate planning, and everything in between tax strategies, investment planning, retirement planning, protection planning, all of that. Anything that has to do with your financial life, if we don't know the answer, we find the answer. And we've written a few books, but the one that we have that's the most recent one is called The Hive, HIVE, Strategies in Multi-Generational Wealth. So this book helps to position you to leave money to your children and your children's children, utilizing trust, revocable trust, dynasty trust, those type of things you can use to make sure that all that wealth you built up over the years, when you go on to glory, that goes where you want it to go and is used as best as it can be used in the way you want it to be used. So that's what the book talks about. But
Okay,
hopefully
give me the
today I'll
website.
talk about the
Absolutely, we
website
got to get the
is
trust. Give me the
right,
website one more time.
marshallyourmoney.com. MarshallYourmoney.com. Marshallyourmoney.com.
Okay, so go. Be sure and go there, and make an appointment if you need to. If you've been rolling around in your head and you've had all kinds of things happen, and a lot of things have happened in 2025, but you need help with this, please do so. So I want to take it just a step back because
Mhm.
I think in this season, a lot of things because even oh no, I've been going live and I think James, you've been on with me at least three or four, 5 times, and on
Mhm.
the envision-radio.com. I mean, you've been on there for you. You had a show there too as well. So we've been
Mhm.
talking
Right.
about this for a while. But you know how people are like, this is the way I want to do it, and everybody gonna be telling me nothing about my money. But I think we need to, first off, I want you to kind of take it back to two or three things that people who really got caught off guard. They relied on their job for the 401k and whatever that is, that's what I'm going to do. So I
Mhm,
think we need like just some, let's go back to the basics.
mhm.
I'm in my 30s. I'm young in my 30s. And I've got a decent job. I'm trying to hold on to my job. So what do I need to be doing while I have this job to really start building wealth? What are one or two things that I definitely need to do?
Okay. Well, if you're in your 30s, this advice is going to work well for your 30s or your 40s and early 50s. The first thing you need to do is take an assessment of yourself financially. What do you have? What do you owe? What are you earning? What are you spending? So what do you have in cash reserves? What do you have in investments? How much money do you have coming in? How much are you spending? And how much do you owe in credit card debt, your auto loan, or even your home loan? And that lets us know what your debt to income ratio is. But right now, with this climate of people losing their jobs and being downsized, cash reserves are critically important because that's the account that's going to keep you eating for as long as you need to be eating before you can find another job. Usually that's 6 months and sometimes a year. Now, if you're in a specialized profession where it's hard for you to be replaced and you can usually find something quickly, then you probably only need 6 months cash reserves. Now, cash reserves are not 6 months income, but it's 6 months expenses. Where if you don't have another check coming in, you can still get your food, pay your utilities, pay your mortgage, pay for your gas, pay for your insurance. That's critical. Now, once you have the only way to get that number in cash reserves is to know what you're spending. So have a budget. So you need to know what's coming in, what's going out, so you can determine what that multiple is for your cash reserves. That's the foundation of wealth building is cash flow management and having emergency money. Now, here's the thing, Julia, that emergency money is not money that you invest. So it should not be in your 401k. It should not be in the stock market. It should be in a savings account, maybe a short term CD, 6 months, 12 months at max. But it probably should be in a money market account, which will pay you a little bit more. Right now, about 3.2 or 3.3%. It should be accessible, money you can get at right away. There should not be any penalty to get that money. So that's where it should not be in a retirement account or any type of structured account. And it's probably going to be taxable because for it to be accessible means that it has to be in a type of account that's non-qualified. So that's the first thing you need to do.
Okay, so the one question. So if you get it out, you're taxed on the whole amount or just the interest that came from it?
Well, if it's your cash reserve money, then you're paying, you won't be taxed on it when you take it out because you've already been taxed on that money.
Right.
So only taxes you're paying on your cash reserve money is the interest that it earns.
Okay. Okay.
Now, some people say, all right, I only earned $300. I don't have to claim that. It's still income. You're still going to get a 1099 on that $300. So it's
Yeah.
still taxable income that you have to claim when you do your taxes. But to answer your question, no, you don't pay taxes on that money that you pull out of your cash reserves to deal with an emergency because it's already been taxed.
Right. So if you
Now,
say
if you take it
I
from your
need my
401k, you will.
yeah, but if I say, okay, I know my just whole numbers. I know I need at least $1,000 a month. So if you have 6,000 in it and it makes what 3%, that would be like what 200, $300, then
$180,
you're
$180. Yeah.
roughly. So
Right.
then therefore that's what's taxed and not the $1,000
Right.
a
Right.
month.
But don't
And that's
worry.
a lot for
Don't,
some people.
it's not, don't worry about that. The key thing is having that money because that cash reserve is going to keep you from going into your 401k. So if you've got the cash reserves and something happens, guess what? You don't have to take out your credit card and use your credit card at 25% interest. You don't have to go out and take a loan to deal with that emergency. You can basically pull it from your cash reserves and replenish it over time. Just like you would be paying that loan back, you pay yourself back because you always want to replenish it. Now, speaking of that, once you have your number, let's say the number is $10,000. You never want to go below 5,000. It's just like when you're driving your car, you don't want your gas tank to go below half tank.
Right.
Now, fit. That way you don't get caught, running out of gas. If your cash reserves is 10,000, let that 5,000 be treated like a zero so that you're not finding yourself in a bind. And
Right.
you always it's always going to change because stuff is always happening. It's a moving target. So you're constantly going in and making adjustments. But start there. That's the first
Right.
place to
So
start.
yeah. So I think one of the biggest things, because I know people who do that bills in the drawer thing, and they don't
Mhm.
pull the bills out of the drawer to even look at. I'm talking about the grassroots basic. Oh, I'll get to it soon. Oh, I'll get to it one, and they don't know their numbers. They just don't
Right.
know the number at all. So if you're listening to this, I don't know when you're listening to this, but that's number one. That's not a nugget. That's not a tip. That's a command. Number one is that you have to know your numbers, because
Absolutely.
unless we know what we're working with, we don't know where we're going to go from there. So
Absolutely. The head in
I
the sand mentality does not that head in the sand mentality does not work because
no,
those things are still happening. You're just
yeah,
not dealing with them.
right.
So they're getting worse and worse.
Right. And and today, you could find yourself outside, outdoors,
Mhm.
evicted or whatever if you don't plan for that. So
So
therefore,
there
knowing what this is it, then some adjustments have to be made. So okay, so once I know my numbers, then I may have to make some, this is gonna hurt. So I'm gonna say out for you, some lifestyle changes.
Absolutely. If you're overspending, once you look at your budget and find out what's coming in, what's going out, you may find that you're spending $300 more than you're making. Say, okay, wow, I'm upside down. So you need to go in and you need to make those lifestyle changes you're talking about. You need to see how much you're spending on eating out. Get rid of that. Look at all your variable expenses. The fixed expenses, they're going to pretty much stay the same. Your car payment, your rent or your mortgage, utilities, those are going to basically be the same. But those things that you can control, those variable expenses, eating out, taking vacations, shopping, getting your hair, and although getting your hair done is almost an essential. So, you know, but maybe not so
Don't
often.
come for us. Just
Right.
don't
I
come
ain't
for
gonna
us.
cover. Yeah. But you're going to make some cuts, make some
Yeah.
adjustments. But here's
Like you
another
cut
thing
your,
yeah, but this is what's important also. Cash reserves are so critical
yeah.
that if you're putting 6% of your income into your 401k, which you should be putting at least 6% in because that's what a match is, and you don't have any cash reserves, it would be prudent to drop that contribution down to maybe 3% and take that other 3% and redirect it into your savings account so that you can build up your cash reserves. Now, speaking of that, if you do have credit card debt and you say, well, James, I've always been told I need to pay off this credit card debt first. I'm saying you need to pay it off, but not at the expense of cash reserves. So let's say that you have $1,000 in savings and you got $10,000 in credit card debt. Oh,
Right.
wow. Okay. And you've just freed up $500 on your cash flow. You've gone in, you made some adjustments, you were a good person. You said, okay, now I freed up, I got $500 left over. That's called discretionary income. What do I do with this? Why don't I pay down this credit card? No, put 250 of it towards your savings account, put 250 of it towards your credit card above and beyond what you were already paying.
Mm, okay.
So you want to do that in tandem because if you just focus on credit card debt and you don't build up your cash reserves and that emergency happens, that water heater goes out, that 2000 bill comes in, you're going to have to use credit cards again, aren't you?
Right. Yeah.
Because you've not built up the cash reserves. So that's why you had to do them in tandem.
Yeah. That's great advice, because I think, a lot of people, think, we've always been taught about the credit card debt, but now
Mhm.
we realize when everything is moving so upside down so quickly, like tomorrow, like the next day, the next week. I mean, you don't,
Mhm.
they even advising you in your job, don't give them 2 weeks notice. When you're ready to go, you got to go, because they won't even let you do 2 weeks. They'll tell you,
Mhm.
get you, here's the box, and somebody's going to escort you out. So you
Yeah.
have to be proactive, and you have to be ready. So we talked about the people 30, 40, early 50. What about the people that are close to retirement age, but still trying to hold on for a little while longer, but they wanted the new
Mhm.
car, or they want a house, or they want a vacation instead, and haven't really their the cash reserves is not there, and they've still got
Mhm.
kids, and they maybe even raising grandkids and all that kind of stuff. So speak to the people that are like late 50s or in that
Mhm.
55 to 65, that
Mhm.
range.
Well, you're in that
What
range.
does
Now,
that look
those
like?
rules still apply. You still need to manage your money effectively. I mean, you have to make sure that you're not being the bank in the family and supporting everybody's wants and needs. Now, it's okay to deal with loved ones' needs as they come up, but the wants, that's a whole different deal. So know what you can afford to do. Know your numbers, as you say. Even when you're 55 and 60, you still need to know your numbers. Right now, at that age, you need to be focusing on, okay, one day I'm going to want to retire. So, am I fully participating in my retirement account? Now the market is up; it's been up for a while. So if you're in a 401k, you've seen some increases in your 401k. Don't get too excited about that because this is going to correct itself probably in about another 12 to 18 months. So, but that's not a bad thing. It happens. When it happens, you'll be buying more cheap. You want to buy low, sell high. So when you're in your 55 to 60, you make sure you're maximizing the contributions to your retirement account. So now you no longer should be saving because you should already have your cash reserves. So we're going to assume, although you never should assume, but we're going to assume today that you have your cash reserve. You've been really prudent and productive and disciplined, and you've built up $20,000 in your savings account. And that's a good safe number for you, right? But you have also gone in, you did your budget because you always have to do your budget. Every January, do your budget. Every quarter, do another budget. Just make sure it's good. And you say, okay, I've got that same $500 a month left over. What do I do with it? Well, your cash reserves are already good to go, so you don't save it anymore. Now you if you have credit card debt, you go ahead and pay that down with that $500. Let's say you got that knocked out. Then you want to maximize money into that retirement account because when you retire, you want to be able to roll over a large amount of money into your IRA so you can start financing your retirement income.
Mm. Yeah, because a lot of people don't have pensions anymore.
Most people don't have pensions anymore. So when you have and the 401k, which is a defined contribution program, was set up to replace the pension, which is a defined benefit program. Most companies saw that it's an extreme cost to have and maintain a pension. So they've gotten out of it and they put everything into the 401ks. So you have some companies that still have a pension, like teachers, they have some of the best pensions out there. But those are far and few between. Most companies have a 401k, but not a pension. Some even have a employee stock option plan, ESOP. And you want to participate in those things, but you can't participate in them unless you're budgeting your money and you have your cash reserves, right?
Yeah, and you can't spend everything. You gotta have seed to sow. You gotta have
That is
something to
exactly it. You
save,
gotta
something to
you gotta
do.
have seeds to
You
sow.
gotta have seeds to sow. You gotta have definitely seeds to sow. So where are you with investing? Like what
Okay.
should people besides okay, so 401k needs to be 6% unless we don't have any cash reserves, then we have to cut that back some. We got to make sure we got cash flow in our hand. Big Mom and them used to have the can on the refrigerator, but we need
Mhm.
to have it in something that's going to be earning interest rather than just be
Right.
sitting there. So we're going to
Right.
find
No
the short
money under the
term.
mattress. No holes in the backyard. Put it in the bank.
Put it in a well, some people are nervous about the bank because some of the banks have been going under, etc. So that's usually kind of a and I know
Well,
FDIC, isn't that still
yeah, you're
securing it
insured
up?
up to $250,000, so you're gonna be okay. Now it's
Yeah,
okay to keep some cash in the house, but don't go overboard.
right,
I would
right.
say $1,000 max. That's about,
Yeah,
and you want to put that in a safe, not in a sock in the freezer. Put it in a safe.
right.
But investment wise, this is an interesting time. It's a lot of hype. Now, if you have not fully funded your 401k, you should.
Okay.
And know what's inside your 401k. Know how it's invested. Is it in large cap, which are large companies like IBM, Johnson and Johnson, GE, Ford, or is it in mid cap? Yeah, it's going to be regional banks like Fifth Third Bank, US Bank. Is in small caps. These are smaller companies like internet companies, software companies, where it's more risk involved. So know how it's invested. Now, most 401ks at your job are going to have something what's called an age-based portfolio. It might say the year 2040 or 2035. That means that they're going to invest your money based on the fact that you're going to retire in 2035. So
Oh, okay.
the closer you get to that retirement time, they'll start shifting you from stocks into bonds. Okay. So when you get 5 years out from retirement, you want to start being more conservative with your money because you don't want to lose money anymore, right?
Right.
You're not trying to grow it anymore. Now you want to protect it because when it comes time to start pulling out for income, you don't want to start out with 1 million and end up with 600,000 when it's time to retire.
Right.
So you start shifting into more conservative positions 5 years out from retirement. And those age-based portfolios do that for you, so you don't have to worry about it. But the bottom line is know what's in the 401k. Don't just say, okay, well, whatever, I don't know where it is. Just set it. You got to look at it every quarter. Open those statements, take a look at them, see where the money is invested, see what stocks are underneath those mutual funds that are inside your 401k so you know where you are because you want to invest where you live, invest in what you do, invest in your lifestyle. If you go to Kroger's, you want to own some Kroger stock, right? Which is a really good stock, actually.
Right.
If you drive a Ford, own some Ford stock. GM is a good stock right now as well. So buy what you actually live.
Yeah.
So that's the key thing.
So you do help people with that? Because I know some of that stock and some of that those poor they send out, they're diligently send out, this is what we're doing, whatever, the review, whatever. But most of it is like in a foreign language, even though it's written in English, it's a foreign language to some people.
Well,
You
and
help
it
people with
shouldn't be.
that?
And I do. That's what I do all day long. We
Okay.
manage money. So we are the ones that go out and we buy those stocks for you. We buy those exchange traded funds for you. We buy those mutual funds. We buy those annuities. But what you said is critical. You need to know if you don't understand what your advisor is telling you, tell them to explain it again.
Okay.
The advisor works for you. His job is to explain to you what he's investing. We are fiduciaries, which means we have a legal obligation to put your needs first. Now, when you have a 401k, oftentimes, I will say 90% of the time, no one from the 401k is calling you
Oh no, they not
to
doing
have you
that.
do a
They
review.
that you're
It's just
exactly
right,
right. Don't even do the
right.
90, go to the 100 because no,
That's
they're
right.
not.
So every now and then you're gonna have to call in and have them explain to you how your money is invested. See if you need to rebalance it or make some changes. Or if you're doing it yourself and you're talking with an advisor or a trusted someone that you trust that knows these things, ask them about it and make sure that you understand what they're saying. Don't just take someone's word for it. Know for yourself. It's like in church. You ain't gonna just sit there and just only take the pastor's word for what the Bible says. You're gonna read it yourself every now and then a little bit, right?
Let's hope so. Let's
Let's
hope
hope
so.
so.
Come on now, that's a word right there. That's a word right there. Yeah, right. You got to read it for yourself. Study,
That's
so
right. And
study
you
yourself.
invest in things you understand. So if you are actively investing, you watch these TikTok videos about options and forex and all this kind of exotic sounding things. It sounds real sexy, and people saying they're making all these dollars on it, or crypto, and everyone's rich off of it. You say, "Oh, I want some of that." Well, if you don't understand it, you shouldn't be investing in it.
Yeah,
And if you're investing in something that's not making a profit or making some income, you shouldn't be investing in it.
right.
Avoid investing in the hype.
Yeah,
Avoid the hype.
yeah. Then investing in something that you know about, but and more importantly, make sure you do your homework. I tell people all the time. I
Absolutely.
mean, even on the publishing side, I said, do you go to bookstores? Do you even look at books? Do you,
Mhm.
have you even done any homework at all? Have you looked up thing? Because I want you to ask me the hard question. I want to know,
Right.
have you done any of the homework? And a financial advisor should hopefully want that same thing. Now I know that
Absolutely.
there's ruthless people in all industries, even the publishing
Hmm.
business. There's
Hmm.
scammers and all that kind of stuff. But you need to know the right questions to even ask. And then you got to
Absolutely.
do your homework. This is your hard-earned money. This is the money you
Absolutely.
work for every day, whether you like the job or whether you like the job or
Abs-
whether you're into the
Absolutely.
job or that you didn't. Hopefully, you'll find something that you love, and it
Hmm.
won't be work, but there's still work even in the thing you love, even in
That's
the
right.
thing you enjoy. You still are putting energy and effort, and whether you're working from home and just sitting in front of a Zoom, or whether you, get in your car and having to go out and move the snow and ice off your car at this time of the
Mhm.
year, it's just all about knowing what that looks like. Okay,
And I
so
would say the clients trust but verify. I may
yeah,
say something to you and you may really trust me, but verify for yourself. If I told you that I went out and I purchased you IBM stock, Meta, Google, and all these things, and you look at your statement that I send you, and it's not really quite adding up with what the TV is saying that these stocks are down, but your
Right.
statement is saying that they're up. Means you got to look and see whether or not that statement that you're getting from your advisor is a legitimate statement.
Right.
Because with computers, you can make all kinds of stuff up.
Oh
So every
my.
now and then, look and see if those stocks actually are trading at that amount that that statement says it's trading at. Trust but verify.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the accessibility of technology. I mean, you gotta vet it all. Even if if it's on the internet, it's true. No, well, not always. And so you gotta do your homework and actually do it, and actually read and actually ask the questions and maybe send some emails and look at the paper and
Right.
because when you get 65 and you're wanting to retire and all that good stuff, you want to be able to be comfortable in the decisions you made in your 20s and 30s and not be panicked and really um, depressed in your
Absolutely. And
as
people
to
live
what
and
where you
people are
are.
living much longer too. You retire at 65, you probably got another 30 years left to live in retirement.
Yeah,
So you need to
I
make
know
sure your
you're
money is
right
still
too. Yeah.
growing.
Oh, you're right about that. With the living a lot longer, and most
Right.
people, I retired at 55, and they're like, "Oh, girl, you came out early." I was like, "No, I came out right on time,
Yeah.
because of energy and whatever, all the other things I had going on." So
Mhm.
it worked for me, but I planned for that though. I planned for it. I might not prepared as I should, but I planned for it. I really wanted that. I didn't
Planning is the key.
and fortunately, I was doing the work to be able to do that. And I still do the work, but I do it because I enjoy it, and not going somewhere that I dread every single solitary day. So, real quickly, because I know you talked about the sexy investments, and one of those, of course, is cryptocurrency. So
Mhm.
we've seen highs and lows, and I will have to say I've done some investing, and I did okay. And so, but now I don't know, it's all around and up and down. So what that looks like moving forward. Do you advise it? No, or
Well,
is it
here's the thing. Crypto is here to stay. This is true, but it's still a gray area. So we believe that clients should invest their money in this way. Excuse me. 50% of your portfolio should be safe and guaranteed, right? 40%, that's going to be your growth portion. So that 50% is going to earn you about 4 to 6%. That growth portion is going to earn you from 6 to 10%. Then that other 10%, that's where that speculative money is. That's the money that if you choose to do crypto or something like that, that's where that will come from. Money that you're willing to lose, that
okay?
you have an opportunity for a higher return, but you also realize that you could lose it all. But it would
Okay.
only be 10% of your overall portfolio.
Okay.
So you have to be disciplined because let's say that you got lucky on your 10% and you really did well. And now all of a sudden it represents 40% of your portfolio. It's out of whack now, right?
Yeah.
So you got to sell off some of it to bring it back to that 10%. That's called rebalancing. That's called diversification. And it takes discipline and commitment. So crypto is here to stay. I don't recommend it for everyone. Make sure you understand it. If you understand it, go ahead and stick
But
your toe in there.
a smaller amount for what you do. Okay. And if you
Absolutely.
make money,
And
and then
stick
you
and
gotta be
stick with the
ready to make
tried and
money.
true. Don't be chasing these tokens because those are backed by nothing.
Yeah.
Stick with actual Bitcoin or Ethereum, one of those more legitimate cryptocurrencies.
Right. And be prepared. If you make money, be prepared because Uncle Sam's gonna come for you. You gotta be
Oh yeah.
prepared with your tax. Okay, so we have a question.
Mhm.
So, hi, Miss Karen Thompson. Can you share insight, sir, on tax-free bonds?
All right. Those are going. Hello, Karen. How are you? Thanks for the question. Tax-free bonds are a way that 50% number we talked about that's where your bonds would go because they're very safe and conservative, right? But they're tax-free. So these are usually municipal bonds. These are usually your state bonds, your city bonds, your county bonds. So they're really good for people in high income brackets because now the income that you're receiving when you consider that you don't pay taxes on it would be actually higher than what you're actually getting. So if you're getting a 4% tax-free bond return, it's really equivalent to a 6% if you're in a 30% tax bracket, to use it as an example. Now, as the market goes down, bonds tend to go up. It's like a seesaw. If interest rates go up, bond prices go down, but bond yields go up when interest rates go down. So right now we're in a situation where the market is up and interest rates are up. So bonds are in favor, and they're probably going to become more in favor as the market starts to correct. So yes, I do like tax-free bonds, but more than tax-free bonds, I like regular government bonds, or even some TIPS, which is a tax inflation protection bond. That bond makes sure that if inflation goes up, you're still going to get a good return. You want
Okay,
to stay
so
away
which
from
should be
things like
buying?
your double E bonds because they don't earn very much. But so stick with an ETF fund like a Vanguard tax bond, and PIMCO, they have a really good tax bond fund as well. So ETFs and mutual funds are good ways of buying bonds. I hope that answered the question. I went
I hope
into a
so too. Let us know in the comments if that answered your question. If you have another one, jump on in because I'm like tax-free bonds. So do they have denominations you can purchase it in, or is it just
yeah, yeah.
full amounts?
If you buy the actual bond itself, most people don't actually buy the bond. All bonds trade at a par of 1,000, but they either trade a discount below 1,000 or a premium above 1,000. So you can actually buy the actual bond, but most people don't do it that way. They'll buy a mutual fund that buys the bonds, or exchange traded fund that is buying the bonds. But you can buy the bond in different denominations.
Okay, so if you can't buy the bond, you can get into a mutual fund that will be a part owner of the bond or a
No,
bond.
you actually you have different types of mutual funds. A mutual fund, if you invest in a mutual fund, which is a fund that's managed by an investment company, and they charge
Okay,
a fee for managing for you, and then you can have all kinds of sectors you can go into: technology mutual funds, bond mutual funds, growth mutual funds, international mutual funds. Any investment exists, you can find a mutual fund for it. Now, ETFs, exchange traded funds, are a cheaper way of doing that because the fees are much lower in an
okay,
ETF. These are baskets. They'll go out and buy a basket of bonds or a basket of stocks, and they all trade daily. So they're liquid. You can get in and out as often as you want.
okay. So what would be the minimum amount you need to be ready if you're getting ready to jump in this tax-free bond area?
I would say $10,000 is probably a good place to start.
Okay. So that's the starting place. Miss
Okay,
Karen
Karen says
Thompson
thank
says,
you.
okay, you yeah, she
It
got
says,
the
okay,
answer to
thank you. That can mean anything, Karen. That can mean like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, thank you. Or it can mean, yeah, right. Well, I'm going to assume that I gave you the information that you needed.
Hopefully, she'll tell me. So you can text me if you
Hopefully.
need to. But yeah, thank you for joining us. And if you have any other questions, bring them on because, as you can tell, Mr. James Marshall is a wealth of information. He's been in this business for 30 plus years, 40.
Over 37 years, be 38
Okay,
years in
we
January.
as my
Man,
father said, you closer to
you,
40 than 30.
you see
So
this
that's what
gray
we were.
hair, don't you?
No, no,
It,
no, no need.
I got it
Don't worry
honestly.
about it. That's called experience. Showing right there on top of our heads. We got it. We got experience and showing.
But I'm glad you brought that up, because when you have a market that's getting ready to correct, and it's hypes now, and in this business we say don't fight the tape. So when the market is going up, don't fight it, ride it, but don't get greedy. So when you start seeing it turn, and maybe it goes down 10% before you get out, now where are you going to put that money? You're going to put that
Yeah,
money probably into bonds
yeah.
for safety. Are you going to maybe put into some annuities, which are guaranteed and safe? Or you might put it into some really strong blue chip companies that pay high dividends,
Okay.
such as Johnson and Johnson, Eli Lilly,
The
Verizon,
P&Gs of the world. Yeah,
P&G.
P&Gs of the
Yeah,
world. Because that's where
those companies.
usually I know when I was just in college, my economics professor, that's where he was like, "What do you use every day?" Tide. He said,
Right.
you use bleach, you use Crisco oil, you use the regular.
And those are
She
called
said you
staples. And
see
that's a whole
regular
segment.
bonds and tax-free
Oh,
bonds.
that's
She
Karen
was
back
right.
again.
Yeah, she said you see regular bonds and tax-free bonds. I was wondering why. Okay, so good.
Mm,
You got your question
good,
answered.
good. So
Yay! We love it.
now you're more knowledgeable, Karen. So you'll know exactly what to do. And look, I'm not saying you ain't making $400,000 a year, but if you're making less than $200,000 a year, you probably want regular bonds as opposed to tax-free munis. Now, tax-frees are almost always municipal bonds. It's like if MSD decides they're going to put a new sewer system into the city, and it costs $2 billion to do that. Then the city is going to float a bond, sell a bond to pay for that. and then
Oh,
the
okay.
revenue, well, it won't be any revenue from that project, but the taxes that the fees that they're charged for sewage will be used to pay the interest on that bond. Like the bridge, for instance,
Yeah.
that's paid for with bonds.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense now. Yeah, that makes
So
a
a
lot of
bond,
sense.
you're loaning money to a company or a municipality or a government with a bond. With a stock, you're owning a piece of that company. So a stock is ownership. A bond is you're loaning money to them.
I really see those are the kinds of things that I'm like, explain it to me like I'm a 5-year old. That's where I need. I don't need the big long whatever. Just explain it to me, and that's what we need. That's why James Marshall's on here. So he can break it down to us what them big words mean and what those because our money is so hard to come by and it
Yeah.
is something that's major to us. And I know it's some people have a hard time with it and a hard conversation. I just want to earn it and I just want to enjoy it. But baby,
Mhm.
when you get older, you're gonna need to be able to let the money work for you. You got
That's
to
right.
know how to save it, how to, as the old country songs that hold them and when to fold them and when to run. So you're
Mhm.
gonna have to know what that looks like in your life. You're
You got to
welcome.
be a good. You got to be a good steward of your money.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. No problem. You're
You're
welcome, you're
welcome,
welcome.
Karen.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Because
Absolutely.
you're right. I mean, even the Bible tells us to guard it. He told Adam in the garden, till it, be a guardian of it, the steward of it, the whole 9 yards. So what do we have in our hands? We have to definitely do it. Okay, so I really want to get down into the trust question
Okay.
and what that actually looks like because we have there's so much of the issue of when you're talking about estate planning and getting ready for the future. Now, Brian forced me to walk that road because I'm like, I don't want to talk about dying. Let's just live. And he was like, No, wait a minute. We don't have no kids. We don't have no, and
Ain't nobody getting out alive,
ain't
sister. We all
nobody.
got to go. We all got to go.
And he's like, No, we gonna have to sit down. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. And you just get in your emotions and in my feelings, but now I have the comfort in knowing and I can sleep easy at night because I have my affairs in order. So really, really talk about that estate planning
Okay.
um and just I'm gonna post again, put out again what where people need to go so they can get on your website, but really talk about the whole a trust thing and estate planning because we've seen more GoFundMe's than we ever wanted to,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
all the fundraisers. And I get it, I understand it. Unexpected things happen.
Hmm.
That's what we're talking about tonight to be more
Hmm.
prepared. So,
Be more prepared.
go
And the
ahead
trust is
and
there.
talk
And
about
the
that.
trust is there not only for if you should die. It's a matter of having your affairs in order. And inside the estate planning documents, you want to have things like, okay, your simple will. No, you got the spell wrong. You got
I
young.
know. I was like, "Your." What do
Yeah.
you mean young? Hold on. Your. This. Oh,
Hey, don't
it's
go to
hard to
Marshall
do.
Young Money because I don't know who that person is.
I'm like, what the world? I'm up late with you.
There you go.
Marshall
There you
your
go.
money. Is that it? Okay,
There it
good.
is.
We ready to go.
Okay, so you want to have your simple will, who gets your stuff, your living will, do not resuscitate or resuscitate, your power of attorney, your durable power of attorney, which means okay, you've lost your mind, but now you're okay again, so you get control back. That's the durable part. Your medical power of attorney, this person can make decisions for you and you're incapacitated for your doctor. Then that HIPAA release form that lets the doctors know they can share your medical information with that person. Those are the basic things that you need. Everyone needs that. I don't care if you 25 or 75, you need those basic things, right? Simple will, living will, durable power of attorney, medical power of attorney, HIPAA release form. Now, if you don't die and you have a stroke, these documents still come into play, right? But having your house in order means that when you do go on to glory, that you don't have folk fighting over your stuff. Because you and I both know, I don't care how wonderful family members are,
My
it
Lord.
seems to me that once someone dies, everyone loses their mind. And they all think they have a right to that $18 that you had in their savings account. So be clear and concise about what you want to happen and name a good executor of your estate. who's that person that you can trust that are going to make sure that your wishes are carried out.
Right. Right.
Okay, don't
Yeah.
don't get your best friend who you know is kind of missing a couple of screws, but you know she's your
Yeah.
girl, so you go make
Yeah.
it your estate. That ain't the best way to go. Make
No.
sure you get the most responsible person because they're going to be handling everything once you're gone.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it has to do, you got them friends that you go on the girls' trips with, and you got them friends that you hang out with, but when it's time to make some serious decisions, you can't necessarily always rely on them. Some of them can be both the fun girl and the serious, when it's trying to
But
make
not likely.
logical. No, not likely.
And the other thing is, if you have kids and you have two kids, for instance, or three, you don't want to name two, have them be co-executors. Just name one because it's going to be a lot of indecision there. So
Yeah.
name one person, let them be the executor, and then have a contingent executor in case that person dies before you. So those are the basic things in regards to estate. Now, some of your money is not going to have to be put into a trust because it's going to escape probate, right? We all know what probate is. We heard the word probate. We may not know what it means, but what it means is that's when the county judge or the court system wants to make sure that all your creditors get paid before you start dispersing money out to people. That's the main reason for probate. So you had a lien on your house from the roofing guy that you never paid. Okay, he's going to have to get paid before anything can happen in terms of releasing your estate. So usually that takes about 6 to 9 months, but sometimes it takes years, depending on how much money you have. So anyway, your life insurance policies are going to escape probate. They're not controlled by the will. The will has nothing to do with anything that has a beneficiary. Your 401k does not get controlled by the will. It escapes probate because you've named a beneficiary to the 401k. Unless you made your estate the beneficiary of your life insurance and you made the estate the beneficiary of your 401k, then the will that you wrote will dictate who gets that money, how much of it, and so on and so forth. But you don't want that to happen. You want to name a bit, you want to avoid probate as best you can.
Yeah.
So things with a title on them, like your car and your house, those type of things, they will go through probate unless they're held in a trust. Because you don't own them if it's in a trust. The trust owns them.
Right.
So that's the benefit of the trust to make sure that it's out of your estate, it's owned by this other entity, and that entity is a legal entity. And then you name a trustee, a contingent trustee, and then they will disperse, and you can be the trustee of your own trust. And then you would disperse that money. Now, if you really get to rolling and balling, you build up some big money, you might get you a trust company that actually acts as the trustee of your trust, like Stockyard Banks. That's a trust company. And then they will be the ones that will make sure that the assets in your trust is dispersed the way you want it to be dispersed. You can control their money from the grave in a lot of ways. So
Mm.
you've been fortunate enough to accumulate a couple $1 million and it's in your trust. And you want to make sure that your kids don't blow it all. So you'll say, okay, you can only take out the interest that this trust earns every year. But if you buy your first home, you can take out $50,000 for the first home. If the grandchildren's going to college, you can take out $50,000 for so on and so forth. You can put those type of statements inside the trust language to make sure that the money is not being misused.
Okay, so I got a question again. Miss
Okay.
Karen, she's with us
Karen
from
again. Hey,
front.
Karen.
Karen, she said, "What's the best trust to have?"
ah,
There's
you're
so
gonna hear
many.
about all you're gonna hear about all kinds of trust, right? But you want to keep it simple. A revocable trust is a good way to start. Now, living trust is not a bad route. A lot of attorneys will use a living trust in lieu of a will, but I like revocable trust. Now, if you really want to get fancy, you'll set up a irrevocable life insurance trust. That trust will actually own your life insurance policy. And the reason why we have that is, let's say that Karen, you were really balling, you've built up $20 million in assets, right? And you also went out and you purchased a $10 million life insurance. I know it's some big numbers, but I'm going somewhere with it. So you got $20 million in net worth, and you got a $10 million life insurance policy that you have. and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna get this policy so that it can help with the estate when it's time when I die. Well, now since you own that policy, your net worth, your estate is valued at $30 million, the 20 plus the 10 life insurance. So you've added more taxation onto your estate because the estate tax will come into play. So if the irrevocable life insurance trust owns that policy, it's out, you don't own it. So therefore, you die, that $10 million will not be counted towards your estate. But to answer your question, I will start out with a revocable trust. There are all kinds of trusts, dynasty trust, generations skipping trust. There's all kinds, but a revocable trust is a simple one that you can do first because you need to know why you have a trust. Not everybody needs one. If you got $2,000 in net worth, well, you don't need to have no trust. What are you doing with a trust? So if you've got enough money that you want to make sure that uh, it's not being misused, that it's not in your estate, and also it helps you in terms of when you go to a nursing home, that money is not in your assets as well, because you have to get that money out of your estate 5 years prior to the time you go into the nursing home.
Yep.
So you need to sort of make those decisions now. So, but have an attorney that you trust work with you with your trust. It's not something you want to do on your own. Get you an attorney, and they'll be able to walk you through the process.
Absolutely, absolutely, and definitely that 5 years before the nursing home. Lord Jesus, that is definitely something because they definitely take everything. All right, for those of you who are listening, Marshall Your Money. Yes, I have it spelled correctly this time. Marshall Your money money.com. So, a last question because you really helped us a lot today, and I really, really, really appreciate your time. Be sure and go to his website, marshallyourmoney.com. Schedule a conversation. Um, and work with his
Complimentary
program.
consultation won't cost you a dime.
Yeah, a free consultation because it's very important. Purchases, books, all of that. Follow James Marshall, marshallyourmoney.com. So the last thing when we're headed into the future, heading into we talked about saving, we talked about investing, um another hustle, side hustle. Yes, no.
And should you have a side hustle?
Yeah, additional
Yeah,
income,
if you
side
got the time and the energy, absolutely. If you got the time and the energy, get you a side hustle. See, I'm not a big believer in totally retiring because retiring to what? Now, if you have a hobby that you love doing, okay, that's cool. But you could retire from that job, but then start doing something else. It might be that side hustle. It might be that you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to start a business. You might want to take up farming. I don't know. But yeah, I believe a side hustle is not a bad idea. Just don't throw a lot of money at it, you see, because most small businesses fail within the first 5 years. But side hustles are different because, if you want to drive an Uber or you want to sell some stuff online, that's not a real big investment up front. And if you are selling something online, don't go out and buy a whole bunch of inventory and hold it. That's the worst thing you can do. You want to have what's called just-in-time inventory management. Like T-shirts, you can do them print as needed now. You ain't
that's
got to buy
it.
them in
Yeah,
bulk.
that's it.
But yes, absolutely have a side hustle. If you have the time and the energy, do it.
Yeah,
Can't go
I
wrong.
agree. I agree wholeheartedly. The other thing too that I always want to tell, and you do need your attorney, and you do need your trust, and you do need to reach out to James Marshall, Marshall Your Money. But those of you that have written books, that became a big deal for when, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I always want to remind authors, whether I publish you or not, that that is your intellectual property, and that needs
Mhm.
to be a part of your will and trust. And you need to trust somebody with your login and your information and what access to that, because Amazon or wherever you put whatever the platform you use could be generating royalties, and they're just sitting there. And I don't care if it's $5 or $5,000. If it's mine, I'm supposed to have it. And if it's
That's
supposed
right.
to be with me, I don't really, the amount that's supposed to be mine is what I want. And so
Got to have
therefore,
structure. Got to have structure, and you got to have your ducks in a row, without a doubt.
absolutely. But it is your intellectual property, and it is income, and it can potentially, especially whatever type of book it is, it can be a part of generational wealth, and depending on what type of book it is, what type of energy your family members have, what you're connected to, the career you've had, the philanthropy you've had, the community outreach, it can still be making money long after you're gone. So keep that in mind too as well.
And with that
And
said, Julia, that intellectual property needs to be part of your will as well. In
absolutely,
your will,
absolutely.
you want to state in there all those web domains that you own. Anything that you own control of, it needs to be in your will, and you also need to have a separate portion that lets that person who's your executor know what your passwords are, so they can access these things.
Absolutely,
So that's
absolutely,
critical.
absolutely. I mean, it's all a part of that, and you think, I don't want to know, no, you got to sit down and you got to make sure that that's done. And it may be a little morbid, it may be uncomfortable, but knowing that my father passed away in his sleep, he just didn't wake up. No, no
Mm.
nursing home, no long term illness, no heart attack. He just stopped breathing, and he was not. And so
Wow.
therefore, knowing that that's happened in my family, I'm like, okay, Brian, you're right. It may be depressing, but he's like, oh Lord,
That's
we gotta figure out. Fortunately, my
that's
mother
right.
was still alive and could answer and fill in
Mm.
the holes, but it was the whole point of people are doing that all the time. They're just going, and my mother today, she's 85. So she's like, okay, y'all know the purple fold, she's got the purple
There you
folder.
go, the purple folder, right? And I say to clients, I say, look, it's if you just died, what's gonna happen? Put
Yeah,
yourself in that mindset. Okay, now I'm dead. Now what?
yeah,
Okay, people want to know where this is and where that is. So have that folder or have that person that knows who to call, who your financial
yeah,
advisor
right.
is, or who your accountant is, or who your attorney is. But more so, have a binder or a folder that they can go to and it has all your information. And
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
benefit of a comprehensive financial plan. It does that for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, we got to get ready. We got to get ready for now. We got to get ready for the unexpected. We've got to get ready for what is, what shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I know a lot of people don't want to do it, but fortunately, we have people that we've known have a history, have a vast and a well reputation for nearly 40 years. So reach out to James Marshall, marshallyourmoney.com, make connection with him, have that this is where I am. You finally, I'm just being honest, you finally have to face it. You finally have to say, where I stop worrying about it and think it's just going to automatically get better. There could be solutions you don't even know anything about.
That's
But
right.
unless you
Amen.
contact an expert who can say, oh, it might be just a little tweak, like two or
That's
three
right.
things you didn't even know existed. You didn't even know the questions to ask the
Right.
401k
Right.
people, or the questions
Mhm.
even, I don't even know how to spell that word or how to even pronounce it.
Mhm.
Those kinds of things, the Bible even says, my people perish for just the lack of knowledge. They just don't know. It's not that you're
Amen.
ignorant, or, you just don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And so let's get
Mhm.
the information that we need. Let's get the answers to our questions so they can really, really live our best life. So, Mr. James Marshall, it's always a pleasure, sir. You
Thank
always
you.
make me take notes. I got my paper here. I got stuff.
But take
Always
action
taking
too.
notes.
Don't just take notes, take action.
Yeah, well, this is true. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
I definitely have to take action. MarshallYourMoney.com. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Until next time, let's get ready for 2026. Let's take action, execute the plan, ask the questions, contact MarshallYourMoney.com, and let's live the best life we can, prepare for the future, and even prepare after we've gone to glory. All right. So
Amen.
thank you
Amen.
so much. Until next time, I'm Dr. Julia Royston. Live your best life, praying today, tomorrow, and always that you live your best life. Be blessed until next time. Bye
Bye.
bye.